a human being on this earth. Purport. Just as a prisoner who has undergone troublesome prison life is set free again, the person who has always engaged in impious and mischievous activities is put into hellish conditions. And when he has undergone different hellish lives, namely those of lower animals like cats, dogs, and hawks, by the gradual process of evolution, he again comes back as a human being. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that even though a person engaged in the practice of the yoga system may not finish perfectly and may fall down for some reason or other, his next life as a human being is guaranteed. It is stated that such a person who has fallen from the path of yoga practice is given a chance in the next life to take birth in a very rich family or in a very pious family. It is interpreted that rich family refers to a big mercantile family because generally people who engage in trades and mercantile business are very rich. One who engaged in the process of self-realization or connecting with the supreme absolute truth, but fell short, is allowed to take birth in such a real rich family or in a family of pious Brahmanas. Either way, he is guaranteed to appear in human society in his next life. It can be concluded that if someone is not willing to enter into hellish life, as in Tamishra or Andhatamishra, then he must take the process of Krishna consciousness, which is the first class yoga system. Because even if one is unable to attain complete Krishna consciousness in this life, he is guaranteed at least to take his next birth in a human family. He cannot be sent into hellish condition. Krishna consciousness is the purest life, and it protects all human beings from gliding down to hell to take birth in a family of dogs and hawks. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the third canto, 30th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Description by Lord Kapila of Adverse Fruitive Activities. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधौ दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। अधस्ता नरलोकस्य यावतीर्यातनादयः क्रमशः समनुक्रम्य पुनरत्र व्रजेच्छुचिः. So we have seen in this chapter Lord Kapila explaining Mother Devahuti about the life of a human being in this material world, what happens, right? So the title of this chapter is Description by Lord Kapila of Adverse Fruitive Activities. So what happens if someone is engaged in too much materially, what will happen? So this is the last verse of this chapter. Adasthan naralokasya yavatir yatanadaya. So let's see what this verse says. Having gone through all the miserable hellish conditions and having passed in a regular order through the lowest forms of animal life prior to human birth, and having thus been purged of his sins, one is reborn again as a human being on this earth. So if we go back and see what happened, um, in the previous verses, just to give a context, after leaving this body, so we have seen different hellish conditions a living entity goes through. And after leaving this body, the man who maintained himself and his family members by sinful activities suffers a hellish life, and his relatives also suffer. He goes alone to the darkest regions of the hell after quitting the present body, and the money he acquired by envying other living entities is the passage money which he leaves this world. So the money we will not carry. So he's talking about the Thamisra and the Thamisra hells, right? Thus, by arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the maintainer of the kinsman is put into hellish condition to suffer for his sinful activities like a man who has lost his wealth. Okay. Now, the words before was, therefore, a person who is very eager to maintain his family and kinsmen simply by black methods certainly goes to the darkest region of hell, Andhatamishra, right, which is called as Andhatamishra. So after going through all these hellish conditions, right, he will get an opportunity to take the birth. So what is that birth? That is a human birth. Having gone through all this miserable, so what are the miserable conditions? All these, when they say all the miserable hellish conditions, so what are these hellish conditions? Is this only in the hell? No, it is not only in the hell, but all through the life. Even though he has different lives he takes through, right? The living entity he goes through different lower planetary systems, lower lives like animals and in animals also there are different degradations, right? So the different like different stages he goes through, different lives. It's life after life. He goes through he goes through this these lives, and in that lives also he experiences the while living in this material world also he experiences the hellish conditions, right? Miserable conditions, and having passed in a regular order through the lowest form of animal life prior to human birth, and so by going through all these conditions, his sins are purged. He goes through he has to experience, or he has to go through this he has to, yeah, he goes through these hellish conditions to clarify or to clear all the sins he has performed in the life. So that's why he goes through these hellish conditions and he gets purified. Suchihi, the word here is Suchihi. He gets pure, or he get Prabhupada uses word purged. So he does purged of his sins. All the sins will be cleared, and he is reborn as a human being. Okay. So what Srila Prabhupada mentions the purport is, just as a prisoner who has undergone troublesome prison life is set free again. Okay. So what is the purpose of a prisoner? Mm, what is the purpose of a human being put into prison? Or yeah, what is the reason to put a living entity or a human being into a prison in this material world? Because government feels that by putting him in the prison, he will get um, rectified or corrected for his actions, right? So whatever the bad actions he has performed, or the actions which are not conducive to live in this material world, if someone performs according to the law, he will be put into the jail or the prison to go through the punishment. It's just taking all the access. So living in this world according to the law of government is a privilege, right? It's not like you can do whatever you want to do whimsically. You may be whatever you are, but we have to follow the law, right? So this prisoner, when he's put into the jail, he goes through the corrective actions, and at the end of this jail term or the term of the prison, then he'll be set free. The person, so Srila Prabhupada mentions the person who has always engaged in impious and mischievous activities is put into hellish condition. Similarly, if a person in this material world is engaged in impious and mischievous activities, he is put into hellish conditions, right? So the law of nature is designed in such a way that if we behave impiously, so what are the impious activities? The impious activities are the activities which are not conducive or which are not um, helpful to the other living entities. We should, when we live, when we have this body, this is a privilege. Human life is a privilege, again, according to the laws of nature. So we have to utilize this body uh, or this form of human life to get back. The only one creation that Lord has given, Lord has made, is with a discriminative power. A discriminative power is you can see what is right and what is wrong in this human body. Emotions and discriminative power is given to the human life. Yes, animals also has emotions, but they don't have a well-developed discriminative power. So, but the human life is presented with this discriminative power. So, with the power gets, sorry, with the power gets with the responsibility, right? Am I saying it right? Okay. Yeah. With the power gets the responsibility. So the responsibility is also too much on us. We have to behave. We have to act in such a way that we will not, which in such a way that our action should not hurt any other living entities. Yeah, our actions should have a reason, and our actions should not hurt any other living entities. So here in this, yeah, if we don't act in such way, because we have the responsibility to act in that well-mannered way. If we cannot do that, if we act whimsically, if we start eating meat, killing other animals, killing other creatures, being mean, being selfish, all this will put us back into the hellish condition, and uh, we have to go through this lower life, lowest form of the lives. Okay, the hellish conditions. And when he has undergone different hellish lives, so what is this? Kramaha samanu kramya. This is kramaha. Kramaha is in a regular order. There is a sequence, there is a regular order for these lives. Okay, and samanukramya, having gone through, so we have, after going through this regular order which is already designed, right, then there is then he'll will get back to this human life. So when he has undergone different hellish lives, namely those of lower animals like cats, dogs, and hogs, by the gradual process of evolution, he again comes back as a human being. So that living entity will get an opportunity again to become a human being. So what is the specialty of human being? In the in the body of a human being, we have an opportunity to make a judgment, to choose. We are given with a choice. That's one more thing with the human beings. For the animals and the other living entities, they don't have a choice. They don't have discriminative power, well-developed discriminative power. So they have to, these living entities, even though let's say if a lion kills a deer and eats, lion will not get or incur any kind of a sin, because that is the dharma of lion to eat meat, right? That's its that's the nature of the lion. But if in the same way, if a human being goes and hunts for the pleasure, he kills animals and he eats, that's not accepted. That's not what it is meant to be. Right? It's not a dharma of a human being to eat meat or to kill the animals. So that's one example. So what we're trying to understand here is that even though the speciality of the human life is such that you have a well discriminated power and you were provided with choice. Okay, do you want to be this or do you want to be this? Okay. Um, so the choice is there. We have to make that option. Sorry, we have to take that right option and go ahead in the right direction. If we don't do that, what will happen? This kramaha samanakramya will start again. This well arranged regular order, we have to go through this again. So we'll lose the human life because no one is permanent. So This human life will one day end and will go back to these lower forms of life. And we have to go through this cycle again. Okay, so that is what Srila Prabhupada mentioned here. By gradual process of evolution, he again comes back as a human being. So now once he gets an option to become a human being. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that even though a person engaged in a practice of the yoga system may not finish perfectly and may fall down for some reason or other. So in Bhagavad Gita, a person who is engaged in the practice of yoga system. So Srila Prabhupada is giving the brighter side here, a positive look on um, practice of yoga. So if in the human life we got a choice and we have chosen to practice yoga, so it can be proper says practitioner of yoga here, yoga system. So that yoga system can be hatha yoga, or it can be a gnana yoga, or it can be devotional service. Any of these three, if a person is involved in this yoga system, he'll get an opportunity again to yeah. So let's read this yoga system. Or he yeah, when he's practicing this yoga system and he falls down, but he'll still get an opportunity to get a next life as a human life. That's a positive side. Okay. So what is he saying? His next life as a human being is guaranteed. So this is yeah. In Bhagavad Gita, where does it say? It says in 640. One, a couple of verses from here, 614. Prapya punya kritam lokan, ushitva shashvata samaha, suchinam shrimatam gehe, yoga brashto vijayate. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. So the positive side is a person who is engaged in this system of yoga, in the yoga system, right? He generally accumulates pious activities or piety. With that piety, he moves ahead. So samaha anukramya, or the um, as we if a person is engaged in the material or hellish activities in this material world, he'll go through the lower order form of the life, right? And he comes back. But if a person is engaged in the yoga system, he'll get an opportunity. With that piety, he get an opportunity to go to the higher planets, but in this material world only. In the higher planets, he enjoys this like heavenly planets. He enjoys the piety he has accumulated, and but the problem is like he falls down again. He comes back to the human life. And the another positive point here is that when he comes back to the human life, Prabhupada explains that he gets a Suchinam Srimatam Gehe. Suchinam is he'll be yeah, Suchinam, he'll pious. So Srimatam, he'll get a prosperous. Basically, he'll get into the family of riches. Um, the unsuccessful yoga divided into okay. One is fallen after very little progress, and one is fallen after long practice of yoga. The yogi who falls after a short period of practice goes to the higher planets where pious living entities are allowed to enter. After prolonged life there, one is sent back again to this planet to take birth in the family of a righteous Brahmana. Suchinam is righteous Brahmana, Vaishnava, or aristocratic merchants. So he'll get two options. He can be depending upon the piety, or depending upon how much the piety has performed. He'll get either a birth in the righteous Brahmanas, or into the aristocratic merchant family. So that's what Srila Prabhupada mentions here. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that even though a person engaged in a practice of yoga system may not finish perfectly and may fall down for some reason or other, his next life as a human being is guaranteed. It is stated it is stated that such a person who has fallen from the path of yoga practice is given a chance in his next life to take birth in a very rich family or in a pious family. The same thing from 641. Okay. It is interpreted that rich family refers to a big mercantile family because generally people who engage in trades and mercantile businesses are very rich. So why why would a person engaged in the yoga system gets a rich family? What is the importance of the rich family here? taking birth in a rich family. So the importance of taking birth in rich family is that you don't have to suffer for the basic needs. If one living entity is suffering to find a food, right? If there is a person who doesn't even have a basic minimum necessities of this life, how would he get engaged into the Krishna consciousness, right? Or any yoga system? If your mind is free of yes, there is dukkha, like when there is misery, you go to the Krishna. But if you have misery of that basic level, like you don't have a food, you don't have place to sleep, you don't have that basic arrangements, then it gets super hard for that living entity to take up to the Krishna consciousness. So that's why he gets a rich birth, I mean, a birth in a rich family, so that that living entity can doesn't have to worry about the basic necessities. That way, he'll engage his time in the process of yoga system, which he left apart long time back. Wherever he left, right, he'll continue in this very life. Similarly, one who engaged in the process of self-realization or connecting with supreme absolute truth, but fell short is allowed to take birth in such a rich family or in a family of pious brahmanas. So what is the importance of taking birth in a family of pious brahmanas? So here, taking birth in a family of pious brahmana, so this living entity doesn't have to go through, or doesn't have to find a guru. Basically, if we have a setup of all the um, ingredients required for bhakti. So what are the ingredients required for bhakti? Or basically, by taking birth in the family of Brahmana, the children are all automatically, they see, watch what the parents are doing, right? How the parents are engaged in the devotional service, how the parents are talking about the scriptures, how the parents are um, dealing with the situations. So the children gets automatically, it's just by watching the parents, watching the family members, they learn this bhakti or the yoga system. They automatically get engaged into this yoga system. So that's the benefit of taking birth in a. So either they'll take birth in rich family, or they'll take birth in a pious Brahmana families. Either way, he is guaranteed to appear in a human society in next life. So either way, but he'll take birth in human society in next life. It can be concluded that if someone is not willing to enter in, Srila Prabhupada concludes his statements, right, or with this verse, or with the whole chapter, he's concluding here saying that it can be concluded that if someone is not willing to enter into hellish life, as in Tamisra or Andha Tamisra, then he must take to the process of Krishna consciousness. He is giving the summum bonum now. So if a living entity doesn't want to go to the hellish planets in this next life, hellish planets like Tamishra and Anda Tamishra, we have seen that what is Tamishra and what is Anda Tamishra. Tamishra is a place a living entity reaches when he steals the money or steals the family members of other human being. Then he goes to Tamishra. And the Andhata Mishra is like he not only steals the family members, he steals the wife of other people, and he enjoys being there, and he trick the person to get all this uh, whatever the all these facilities, right? By tricking the other human being, snatching their wife and snatching their family members, then they'll be put into Andhata Mishra. So then he must take to the, if one doesn't want to fall into these hellish conditions, then he must take to the process of Krishna consciousness, which is first class yoga system. So Srila Prabhupada in 641 explained that practice of engage in the practice of yoga system, right, in the chapter 6. So that yoga system explains in these purports that the yoga system can be Hatha yoga or Gnana yoga or Bhakti yoga. But here in this Sammam Bonam, he's telling that the first class yoga system is Bhakti yoga. And if one doesn't want to go into the hellish planets, he should practice Krishna consciousness, which is a first class yoga system. So why is it first class? Because even if one is unable to attain complete Krishna consciousness in this life, he is guaranteed at least to take his next birth in the human family. It is guaranteed. Srila Prabhupada mentions that. That is such a um, um, promising or such a soothing revelation Srila Prabhupada is giving here, that if you practice Krishna consciousness somehow or other, just engage, just be there, just participate, so that you will not have to take the hellish conditions. We don't have to go to the hellish conditions, and we'll get a human life next time. Okay? He cannot be sent into the hellish condition. Srila Prabhupada again mentions that he cannot be sent into the hellish condition. Krishna consciousness is the purest life, and it protects all human beings from gliding down to hell to take birth in a family of dogs and hogs. So hellish conditions will not have to go through that hellish conditions. What were the three rules Yamaraj has instructed his servants? Yamaraj has instructed that a devotee, when you see a devotee, you cannot go to them. Then servants of Yamaraj asked, wow, who is a devotee? How can we recognize that is a devotee? A person who has a tilak on his lalata or the forehead. If his tilak, if he wears kanti mala, and if he's chanting Hare Krishna, or if he's chanting the names of the Lord, we can never go to that person, because those are considered to be the um, people who have dedicated their lives to Krishna or Vishnu, and they have special arrangement for them to take back or for them to go back, and they belong to Krishna. So Krishna will take care of them personally, and we don't have any right on those souls. So with this note, we will close this Bhagavad Gita. Oh, sorry, Bhagavatam class today. So this basically this ends the um, 30th chapter of Canto 3. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. I'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day and week ahead. And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Shri Nrsingo, Jai Nrsingo, Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringam. Ugraveeram Mahavishnu Jalantam Sarvatomkam Narsingam Bhishanam Badram Mityam Namiham. Nrsinga Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all decimal Vaishnavas. Mancha Kalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaye Bacha Patitanam Pavanebhayo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vaishnavinda ki Jai. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल।
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada.